One more question, and I think we're going to call it a day. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Molly Wood from CNET. I have a question actually about market share, which is sort of what we're getting at. There has been a suggestion that because of pricing and design, Apple tends to appeal to kind of a smaller elite rather than that sort of mass customer base. And so I guess once and for all, is it your goal to overtake the PC in market share?
I can tell you what our goal is. Our goal is to make the best personal computers in the world and to make products we are proud to sell and would recommend to our family and friends. And we want to do that at the lowest prices we can. But I have to tell you, there's some stuff in our industry that we wouldn't be proud to ship, that we wouldn't be proud to recommend to our family and friends. And we can't do it. We just can't ship junk.
I think the best thing to do, take the train up to my car, take my car to U-Village, go to the Apple store, you make your decision there about whether you want one, and then do our grocery shopping there, and drive all of it back in my car, back home. And then, is there part...
Did you record that whole conversation about the mouse?
No, I wish I did though. I feel like these are going to be your best options here.
No, I have a specific one that I want. You're gonna be so mad. Because it's the same one that you have, the black one, kinda. The like ergonomic mouse.
Wait,
Okay.
which one though? They're very different.
I just wanted it in a cute color. Like this blue or this purple. Does it have okay, so when it says wireless connection, does that mean Bluetooth? No, that doesn't mean Bluetooth.
Yeah, no, this looks like it has a receiver. Like you said.
What does this say?
I think this is what you want.
That one says Bluetooth. Okay, so I can get that one. Or I can get one of these.
Yeah.
Because these ones say it. Yeah, so you were right.
And Logitech is pretty good.
Yeah, I used to have one of these. I just don't have like the newer version of these ones. I have like the older one. Well, what color do you think goes best with?
Connectivity, this does not get the N1. It has Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 6, so that the standards are, fine. It's not Wi-Fi 7, but whatever. But it is Bluetooth 6. I think they use like a MediaTek chip or something. It's not Apple's N1 in there. Again, saving money because whatever chip they use is presumably cheaper than the M1. The camera is 1080, no center stage or desk view. Also, no indicator light on the camera. It's a little green light that, turns on next to the camera when the camera's recording. Instead, they're just relying entirely on the software thing.
There is so much that has been made of the kinds of trade-offs that Apple made in order to reach the $599 price point for the Neo.
Sound, again, dual speakers, dual mic array instead of 3 mics from the MacBook Air. Does not support spatial audio with dynamic head tracking on AirPods, which is fine with me because I hate that feature.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I turn that off like universally across all of my devices?
Yeah, I wish. I always turn it off.
As a point of comparison, whereas the Surface had one major catch, the Neo has made a bunch of really small catches all the way down to get to that $599 price point.
No keyboard backlight. No Touch ID on the base model. The trackpad. It is not a haptic trackpad. The trackpad actually moves, so we're going back in time. The battery, as Marco said, is 36.5, which is 32% smaller than the MacBook Air's 53.8. So that is a big, because again, this is the same size computer and there's essentially a third less battery in it.
These things are all cuts or changes that have been made in order to hit the price point that they need with the Neo.
It really is a really long list of specs that are inferior on this compared to a MacBook Air.
But
right?
I don't
People
really miss the other ones.
You could say that about literally every decision is, yeah, but it's nice. It's a shame that it's not in here. And my answer, I'm sorry to say it, my answer is $599. Like, something's got to give.
This is definitely a slam dunk for people who are coming from PCs. But if you're coming from other Macs, the lack of certain things, like if you've always had backlit keyboards and you suddenly don't, like that kind of thing.
A couple of bucks here, a couple bucks there, multiplied by 20 little couple bucks here and there is how you knock a couple $100 off the price.
No, I think all these ones are worth it.
But I think that there is exactly one trade-off that exemplifies the genius of the Neo. Now, my first ever MacBook had this iconic example of Apple design, the MagSafe charging cable. It's easy to plug in, easy to unplug, and saves you, well, saves your computer really from being yanked off a desk if somebody's walking by. But with the Neo,
what I got wrong was that the new base iPad would support Apple Intelligence, that the new laptop would be wedge-shaped, that the new base iPad would come in a new color, and that the new laptop has MagSafe. I am still a bit bitter about the MagSafe one, if I'm being honest.
There's no MagSafe.
The MagSafe decision, obviously, I think it's a price decision, right? Like they either would have had to maybe throw out one of the ports, or they're gonna have to build a MagSafe in there, and then they got to ship a MagSafe cable, and would they do that? And I think they just said no.
I do think it's
MagSafe
a shame,
is a
though.
nice feature, so pay for it if you want it.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, I mean,
get
that's it. That's it. You could say that about literally every decision is, yeah, but it's nice. It's a shame that it's not in here. And my answer, I'm sorry to say it, my answer is $5.99. And something's got to give.
the first way to think about this is very simple. If this device is for people who are new to the Mac, what is their existing experience with charging? Well, let's say that they're coming from something like an iPhone. They're probably using a USB-C cable in order to charge. What about a modern PC laptop? They're probably using a USB-C cable in order to charge. What about something like an iPad? They're probably using a USB-C cable in order to charge. From someone who is new to the Mac's perspective, there's absolutely nothing lost in this scenario. It's exactly what they're used to. And I would go so far as to say that there are people that I have spoken with that have seen it as a upside, that they can use the same cable across devices. They don't have to keep track of another cord. It could have been a detractor to use MagSafe, or something that would at least scare them off from a purchase.
Okay, well, you've come around. What happened?
Well, I have a lot of work to do on my zines, and I've been procrastinating on it because it's just kind of annoying to like do it on my iPad. Like, I kind of have to do like split screen, and like the mobile version, I use Canva for quite a bit of it, and the mobile version of Canva is like not awesome to use.
I mean, the thing that you mentioned to me is you're looking for more precise control, basically, in your designs now. I mean, we just like went to the Seattle Art Book Fair, which I feel like is always inspiring. I mean, we've done that every year, right? We've known each other. So it's like the people who are going to those are like, they're really dialed in terms of the way they design their stuff. And so like, I feel like that in conjunction with, are you tabling?
I don't know. We're still doing applications through like last week. So
Well, there's a possibility for tabling at Zine Fest this year, and you have like a really ambitious plan, and now you have you've got a whole team. You got like a whole creative team.
That I think is the biggest piece, is that I am working on a more ambitious projects. I mean, just multiple projects at once, and I'm having trouble like sort of keeping everything organized with using just my iPad. Are you trying to go right?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Illegal?
No, I'm gonna go through.
Yeah, I feel like for a couple different things. I think for the actual design process, I would like to be able to, actually one really big thing is every time that I want to be able to look at what I'm working on as a full spread, I have to, I have to download it as a PDF, and then you have to open it either on your MacBook, which requires me to sort of rely on you in the process, or I have to use the big MacBook or iMac.
Yeah.
And I don't really like using the iMac. Like, I use it for certain particular things, and I think that if I just like put better settings on for myself, it would work better. But what happens is that I haven't figured out how to like get all of my apps to like close every time that I stop working on it, and then it just like takes like so long to boot back up again every time that I want to use it and like log into it. And it's just like a little bit slower than what I'm like looking for. It's not portable. Like, I would like to be able to like take it places to go work out in public,
Yeah.
Like, you're constantly like, you're on the train, you're on like, and I could do that with my iPad for sure. But
I mean, arguably it's easier to do with your iPad, but I mean, the thing that I kept thinking about,
but not the like writing aspect of it.
The writing aspect or the designing aspect?
Both. That's what I'm saying, is that
Really? Why writing?
I mean, I think that it's easier to type on a computer, just generally, than on a iPad.
Well,
even with the Magic Keyboard.
Okay, well, this is one of the things, right? Is that like you have to be a little bit careful with that, because I think they like literally used not the exact same keyboard, but it's going to be a very similar keyboard.
Well,
now, the rest of the form factor still exists. So like on the iPad, it's a smaller screen, and therefore there's not as much space to rest your hands, right?
Well, no, that specifically, it's that I can't put it on my lap. So, like, I mean, you can put a Magic Keyboard with an iPad,
but it's not as robust.
So what keeps happening is that I like to like sit on the bed and like write in bed, but I can't like when you prop up the iPad onto your lap when you're in bed. What keeps happening is that the screen like falls off of the Magic Keyboard while I'm trying to use it, because it's sort of positioned at a weird angle, and I keep like I'll like
falls
move.
off or falls over.
No, like falls, like it slides down. It's like attached to the magnet part, and then it just like comes down off of it because I like am moving around.
Oh, so you like knock it off of the...
Yeah, I kind of knock it off. Whereas like if you're holding a laptop, it just like doesn't do that.
Well, it's just one piece.
Which is why I've actually ended up using my work laptop to do like any of my like schoolwork stuff, any of like my like research stuff. Like I've been using it to like, okay, if I want to like, go, if I need to like see, I want to like go stop and do an errand for something, I like do the Googling and the searching and all of that stuff. Even if I have both devices available, I've been using my work laptop to do it, because I like want to use a laptop, because I like want the actual like form of it. It's like easier to type on.
Yeah, form factor is the right word for that, I think.
So that's part of it. Another thing that I was kind of starting to explain was that, the way that Canva is set up, which, I mean, obviously I would like love to move beyond Canva as a, in terms of like a design platform, but right now that's just like what I'm working on, because I'm still kind of novice at it. But on Canva, you can't do 2 spreads at a time. You can't look at 2 next door spreads to each other. And so I have to download them as a PDF, open it on the thing, but on iPad, you still can't look at them as like a 2-sheet spread.
Yeah, you were just saying that.
Yeah. And so I want to be able to open that up myself and have full control over getting to do that on a computer that isn't an iPad.
No, and I was mentioning to you this morning that like the amazing thing is that, and I think I don't even remember if I've talked about it on the channel, but like the Mac stole its user interface from the Lisa, and the Lisa was literally directly targeted at office workers, like business people. And like the idea was that they were going to use this graphical interface to make it more accessible for people who didn't know how to program, but like they wanted to make it familiar, and so they made like a familiar metaphor, like it was a desktop with files and folders, which are not like things you necessarily find in day-to-day life outside of an office necessarily. I mean, maybe you do, right? But like it means that work is getting done. And so like it is kind of amazing, because there was this period where Apple denies this. I kind of fall on the other side, where I think that Apple maybe isn't being 100% honest, where
there was a period where people think that Apple was gonna basically kill the Mac. Like they were going to replace the Mac with the iPad. And they're like, the iPad is the future. And they weren't gonna like outright do it because you know, the Mac is the Mac and it's like meaningful to the company and it was like good selling product and things like that. But like, I think what they found is like the iPad never really got there, first of all. And also that like people really loved buying a Mac. Like they just really liked it, right? And so it is interesting to me that like the Mac has continued to like have that spot as the place where work gets done. And like it really fits what you're experiencing. And like the even deeper pull is that like for you are doing like print media work. And that was the first market that actually kept the Mac alive for a really long period of time, even while it was struggling.
The Mac opposed to the MacBook, for example.
Well, no, the Mac as a whole platform. I mean, there weren't really MacBooks.
Including the laptops versus the desktop. Like you're lumping them as like the Mac.
Yeah, the Mac is like the operating system is kind of like the soul of the computer, is you know what Steve Jobs used to say. Yeah. And so like, you know, there's iPad OS and there's iOS and there's Mac OS, right? And so Mac is anything that runs Mac OS. And so it's just interesting to me that it is kind of inevitable in that way. Like, and it also shows like how smart I think of a product that Neo is, which is that like, hey, if we actually start pricing our products at the level at which people are willing to start buying them at, you know, then like we can like actually create the right product for the people who want to do this paradigm of work.
That's the biggest thing for me.
Because like your iPad will still be useful.
My iPad is still good, and what I really typically do, like when you're not home and I like get the gall up to actually use the iMac, I use my iPad next to it. Like I'll put my iPad right here, and then I'm like on the Mac, and I'm kind of like using my iPad as my like secondary screen almost, and then I use the big one. I don't know, the iMac honestly feels like too big to me. The screen is so large. And realistically, a big part of it is that you are on it a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You're on there like most of the time. And so there are some days where I can like get myself on there. And I used to use it a lot more when you were working more up north. And you like weren't down in our apartment. And then I would like, there was days where I was just there by myself more often. And so then it was accessible and I used it. But
yeah, and I guess the other thing too is that on the more technical side of things, you jumping for this. Well, but okay, I've got two things. First of all, you jumping for this, it will be an interesting test because people have compared this computer to M1 computers, and you're saying that one of your complaints is about the speed of these devices, and
I think my iPad is fast. I think that the Mac is slower.
Yeah,
but I think the Mac
but I'm
is
saying
slower
the Mac is running the iMac has an M1 processor, and that's what people have compared the Neo's processor to. And your big concern is that it's not going to be a good computer for you. Like you were just said, you were on TikTok, and everybody was saying, oh, you know.
But I also think that the iMac is slow because you have like so much running on it. You have like background things running on it all the time.
This
that
is like
slows it down.
Ongoing complaints of mine is that they have not fixed the multi-user thing, which is like so funny because like very classic Apple, where like their devices are really like they are really only good at making devices that are made for a single person.
Right. And so then I'm like, I'm experiencing the slowdown of your because it's
profile.
Yeah, because it's sharing the workload, even though I'm the only one using it at the time, and so that's part of it. Yeah, and I think the price point is an interesting piece of it because, like, I've not really had a lot of interest in getting a MacBook. Well,
this is why it was surprising to me, and this is, I want you to finish your thought.
Yeah.
Last we spoke, you literally said, I hate using the Mac. You're like, I don't like using the Mac because it's like, and I'm like, oh yeah, it makes sense because like you want to use the iPhone paradigm on your iPad. But like you kind of have marched yourself to this point where you're like, okay, well, I've used this tool and it's not meeting my needs, and so I'm willing to put up with it. But like that brings me to the question, and I want you to finish your thoughts still, but why now?
Because I have more work to do.
Yeah, because the work has come, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, mostly I was just like, I was designing so little things at a time. Like, it was like, oh, I had like one major project project at a time. And so I was like, it was able to like, I was able to mentally, like, here's the thing, when you're on your phone, right, or on an iPad, you have one thing that you're doing at a time, right? Like, especially on a phone. It's like, okay, I'm on my email. That's the only thing that you're doing. You can't like split screen, have like, okay, download the image onto here, like upload into here. Like, it's just, you're not doing like all of these multi-step things. And on the iPad, you technically can do those things, right? It's totally possible. You can download a photo, put it into your photo album, drag it out of your photo album and put it into the thing and like upload from your photo album. But like the reason that I like using the iMac is like, okay, I want to download this photo and then like I drag it to my desktop and then I just drag it to Canva and it's done. It's like way faster of a process, right? I also just like want to have all my files like not have to be sorted into these like niche like folders and documents. I kind of want it to like, okay, here's my folder on my desktop that has everything that I need for this thing. Like photos, like written files, things like that. I want to like be able to have things in a space that are not format aligned, if that makes sense. Which is more doable, obviously, on a Mac. And so I'm interested in having that. I'm also interested in just having a device that I feel like that I have a little bit more, it has a little bit more structure for writing.
I don't know what you mean by that. Like the device itself, the form factor stuff.
Yeah, I don't want the screen to fall off while I'm typing.
Yeah. You just want the form factor.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
I think for me, it was best to start with the iPad rather than like, if I was to go back, I got my iPad like 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. If I went back in time, I would still get the iPad then because it was the best choice for me at the time.
Totally.
But now I'm just sort of stepping up.
And the Neo didn't exist at that point,
And the Neo didn't exist. And that's the thing, is that I just really never had interest in getting an iMac because I'm like, I just don't really want to drop $1,000 on this. That's just not, I'm like, if I'm going to drop $1,000, I'll just stay with what I have, right? Or at that point, it was like, I'll get the iPad because it really was like a multi-use device.
Yeah.
I can do drawing. And at that time, I was doing a lot more digital drawing than I do currently. Like currently, I'm like way more writing focused.
Yeah, and overall design.
And sort of like, and also I would say just generally too, my amount of, wow, there's so many people here. Why is there so many people? Oh, it's the street fair. I would say that I'm a lot more writing focused and like admin focused. There's just like, I just have more tasks that I'm trying to manage and like communication and things like that I just feel like would be better on an actual laptop.
So what color?
But I want to go deeper than that. Because the last time there was a MacBook without MagSafe, it was during the MacBook's darkest hour, the butterfly keyboard era. So you might wonder, when it comes to the Neo, why I would sing the praises of a MacBook without MagSafe after MagSafe's triumphant return to the Mac lineup. I think in order to understand, it might help to begin with a point of reference in comparison to the Neo. The MacBook Adorable, officially known as just the MacBook, also known as the MacBook One.
Now, they did learn their lesson from the 12-inch MacBook, right? Which is you can't have a one-port design that also is your charging port. That's really bad. So it's two, and you can use either for charging.
It has two USB-C ports, one seemingly very fast and one much slower, which is interesting. There's been some specs running around that they're actually very different USB-C ports.
But I do think it's an interesting contrast, right? That no adjective MacBook was, I think, very Johnny Ive. It was super thin. It was incredibly, and it was expensive. It was like $1,600. So it was priced like a MacBook Pro, right? And it came out at a time when the $999 MacBook Air was stuck on the non-Retina display. And it was, I think, a couple of years before they updated the MacBook Air. And then there was the year, like the next year after the MacBook One came out, where they came out with the low-end MacBook Pro that had 2 USB ports. And Phil Schiller said at the event, hey, if you're waiting for a Retina MacBook Air, maybe this is the one you should buy instead.
A very weird period.
It was a very
Apple
weird
computers.
period for MacBooks. And who was that for? And why did it only have 1 port? And why did it cost $1,600? And it just didn't really fit in a good, better, best product matrix in the way that the MacBook Neo just slides in to become the new entry good. MacBook Air is better. MacBook Pro is best.
The One was the first MacBook in this era with the butterfly keyboard, but it got the nickname One for its one USB-C port and its lack of MagSafe. This was as weird a decision for a computer at that time when it was announced as it sounds now. With just 1 port, obviously, you can't charge while you plug anything else in. And so, in many ways, that one decision on the MacBook One reflected the broader ethos for the device. It was a computer seemingly built for no one, maybe other than Johnny Ive himself, who was in charge of design at the time, who maybe was at the peak of his power in terms of his leadership in design at the time. And that was also exemplified by a series of Johnny Ive tropes on the MacBook One. It was remarkably thin. It was expensive. It prioritized form over function in many ways. And that's why the MacBook's single port was so defining that it got the derisive nickname, the One. And when you look at it, the One was the computer that kicked off the MacBook's dark age. Not just the MacBook, but like the entire MacBook line's dark age. This was an era of Apple design that was defined by arrogance, elitism, snobbery. It was an era that was, focused on what was beautiful over what was needed. You saw things like the touch bar getting added to the MacBook Pro while you remove an SD card slot. You saw things like the butterfly keyboards falling apart into pieces, literally one of the most important pieces of input, maybe arguably the most important piece of input in terms of options for a computer, degrading on the laptops. It's a huge design flaw. That era of Apple design, especially when it came to MacBooks, is an era that I would define with the word hubris. We'll come back to that in a second. So compare that with the Neo. For starters, we can begin with not 1 port, but 2. Very simple. Because even without MagSafe, you should be able to plug something into your computer while you're charging. Duh. Here, this is why I think the ports exemplify this new philosophy. Apple thought that a second port in this scenario for the Neo was so important that they custom built an entire controller and system in order to add a second port, because A-series chips don't support them because they are chips built for phones and iPads, which only have a single port.
And why? Why the hell does it have a USB 3 port and a USB 2 port? Because that, I think, is what the A18 Pro can support. I think Gruber mentioned this in one of his things. Or somewhere.
Yeah, he said in his piece that he actually asked somebody in Apple PR, and they basically said like it was really hard to even get that port in there.
They could, in other words, saying like normally they expect to have 1 port. It's a phone chip, so you have 1 port in the phone, right?
Off the record, or in a product briefing, they mentioned that it is the only A-series product Apple has ever made that has more than 1 USB port. And because they were just reusing the A18 Pro from last year's batch of iPhones, the iPhone 16 generation, it was, according to them, an engineering challenge to add a second port of any kind, and that's why the second port is only USB 2 and not USB 3.
just to get the second USB port at all, I think they probably had to add like another USB controller somewhere to the board and wire it in, and that was a pain. And so yes, Apple did this to themselves, but they, like, again, when the A18 Pro was made, I don't think there was any expectation that this chip would appear in a Mac. It is ill-suited to be in a Mac based on the peripheral stuff.
Unlabeled, by the way.
Yeah, unlabeled. But it will, and I had a question about that, about whether there was labeling, because is it really faint? I was like trying to squint at the side of the display units, the hands-on units, and they said it's not labeled. But if you plug like a display that should be in the good USB port into the bad USB or the weaker USB port, you will get an on-screen notification saying, "Hey, you should probably plug that into the other port."
It's a weird thing to have, but it's good that they did it. Yeah.
The classic thing would be to do nothing, right?
Yes.
But like you will not plug in a thing that's capable of more to a port that's not, and not get warned, which is cool. And if you try to do a display is out, which is only 4K 60. But if you try to plug the bad port, the weak port of the two ports, it will say, a little notification pops up. It says, use other port for display. To use an external display, connect to the other USB port on this Mac. So it is a limitation, but I really appreciate that they sweated that detail to say, wouldn't it be nice if we let people know that if they're plugging in a drive to transfer files, that they plugged it into the slow port and not the faster port? And so they're looking at that device and saying this device is capable of more. And I like that. I think it's a nice touch.
And so it is disappointing. I mean, come on, USB 2, like what century is this? It's ridiculous. But would you rather only have one port? I sure as hell wouldn't. So
can you feel the difference yet? Instead of forcing a design to fit the ideals of the designer, this new Apple begins with the customer and works backwards. From here, we can extend that ethos to the entire computer. For $599, when you start with a phone processor, can you add enough to make a great product? This is the core question that Neo asks.
I think you're doing this because you just wanted to turn yourself into the main character of this series. Yeah, that I was saying.
I think it's this one. Yeah. First laptop. I've never bought a laptop before.
You never? Wait, where'd your other ones come from?
My dad bought me the first one. I got one like for free, like as like a hand-me-down. I got two as hand-me-downs for my sister, I think. Or one hand-me-down for my dad, one hand-me-down. Like I've never actually bought my own.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I always have them from work.
And it's your first laptop too.
Yeah, that's my first laptop. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You happy?
I was like, it's like, I know that they're doing it that fast because they're just like really all about the customer service, but a little bit, he was like, you've already bought it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no time to think. Well, he was like, no rush, like, take your time if you want to.
No, I think it
mind.
speaks to. I think it speaks to what we talked about in the last video, which is just that it's the easiest Mac to buy.
That was crazy easy.
I have so much to say about Molly Anderson, who is currently way under-remarked upon in the Apple media ecosystem. But the fresh perspective that she and Stephen LeMay represent are emblematic of something bigger. Our second new thing in this video, a new era. I think that it's no coincidence that John Turnus, head of hardware engineering and apparent heir to the throne at Apple, introduced the Neo at Apple's Experience instead of Tim Cook. The Neo and John represent a kind of clean break for everybody. And during a period where so many look to Apple with concern and disdain about its direction, you may see this new leadership as nothing but things shuffling around. But to me, instead of hubris, the Neo represents humility. And from where I stand, I can't help but see the start of something new.
last night was like, damn, I really want a laptop. And then I bought a laptop. That's kind of nuts.
Good job, John Turnus.
Well, thank you guys for watching the video, and for those who watched the whole series, as I've kind of dripped it out over the last 3 months, it was a special thank you for you. There's a bit of a hint here. So I believe the Neo was either released or announced on March 11th. It is now June 3rd as I'm recording this, hopefully as I'm uploading it as well. And you can see in there's a little bit of a hint earlier in the video that I was recording starting on March 13th. So it's been literally 3 months since we've been doing this. It was snowing at the time that I started recording, which is just crazy to think about. In fact, I was very ill during that period that I was recording. Anne's here, which is why I'm looking over here. That's all to say that I talk about Turnus in this video as if he's not going to be the next CEO, or as if we don't know it. That's the reason why, is because at the time I had written about it and started recording for it, we did not know that he was going to be CEO. Now we know for sure. In fact, we'll probably see the hints of that next week during WWDC. And it makes me even happier that we got to do this during the period where Turnus became CEO, because now we know that a lot of this is very true, that I do think that this is emblematic of a new era. I will also say we talked a lot about the zines that Anne is making in this video in particular. And so Anne, you can say hi if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi.
The other great thing about me being really slow to edit this video is that you got a Neo in the intervening period. And for those who don't know what zines are, these are some examples of Anne's zines that she makes through her little publication, Hot Lead is Dead. Great name, by the way. If you want to check these out, just comment down below, send me a message, send me an email. You can go to my profile. Anne is also tabling at Zine Fest this year, which is, I think, July 26th, if I have that correct. Mm-hmm. So if you're in the Seattle area, or you're going to be in the Seattle area, and you want to see me, meet Anne, check out the zines, you can come by and check out Zine Fest.
There'll be 5 new zines.
5 new zines, yeah, a lot. Actually, one of them is the things that she's working on. You should show people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the zines that I'm working on, but...
Yeah, what's it about?
This one is called Live Free or Die.
It's a great
It's
great
a zine
title.
about being lonely.
And I can say that because I titled it. I just
choosing to live. You titled it?
I think so. It was collaborative.
I think you pushed me to it for sure. It comes from the New Hampshire state motto. And then I have another one here, also in the works.
Yeah, this one I'm really excited about. I think it's the most visually compelling of any of the zines you've made.
It has...
It's called Some Pulse.
His sister makes a lot of art, and it has like a lot of her art featured in it. So if you want to come see Lindsay Hawes' art.
And I'll just say, so again, comment below if you are interested in these zines. We don't have a website up yet, so it's all kind of very manual at the moment, but if you want to purchase one of these, let me know in the comments. And also, again, drop by on July 26th, I believe. Just look up Seattle Zine Fest if you're in the area, and come say hi. At that point, she'll have a table there. But I will say, we talked about, there's a long period in here where we're talking about why she's going to buy this computer beforehand, where we just sort of discuss it. And you're like, well, the work finally hit. And it was these zines, really. It was a big motivating factor.
Yeah.
And I come home almost every day, or she comes home almost every day, and she goes right to the laptop to kind of begin work. And so I think it was like an utter win, right?
Yeah.
You had reservations in the video. You were like, is it going to be...
Before I bought it?
Yeah, before you bought it. You were watching those TikToks and...
Because I think, I had no frame of like some people come in with like very like expectations of like a certain like a Mac experience or like a MacBook experience, right? But I don't really have that frame of reference.
What is your frame of reference?
iPad is like, or like my laptops that are like, have been super old, like Dell computers. And so like, I was like, oh, this is like a laptop. Like this is super, it's functional for everything that I'm trying to do with it. I think it's only been slow one time.
What was that time? What were you doing?
I don't know. I had like every tab I could possibly have open. I don't know. And it was like slow for like 10 seconds and then it was fine. So
Yeah, I was thinking about it. In the video, you talk about how you have to start up your profile on here and how that was really annoying for you.
Mhm.
It's like one of the interesting things that's subtle about it, like owning your own laptop is that like it just has the like it's your device. So the apps just stay open. It's like owning an iPhone.
And it doesn't bother me. I think I said this in the original, like when I was going to buy it, that I was like, my like least favorite part of the Mac is that every time I log into the Mac, I have to like wait for all my, I like haven't ever I never close out of tabs. And so like I have to like wait for them all to open back up again. And I like get really annoyed by that like waiting process.
Yeah.
And that's like not a thing with the MacBook because I open my computer and all my tabs are just already there. Like they're just already open. And it's what I was already going to work on, so it's fine. It's not like I'm not like sitting there like with the Mac. I'm like waiting for like a solid 4 minutes for everything to like open up, and it's not the case at all.
I will say too, I think that it's just snappier than the M1. We had talked about whether it would hold up to the M1 in terms of processor speed. And you know, I see as someone who's a veteran Mac user some of the hitches. Like there is every once in a while one of those things, but this thing flies and it's running on on an iPhone chip, which is hard to believe. And like, I mean, can I say how much you got it for? It was like less than $450 total because of an educator discount and because of an existing product you could have traded in. And so like, you just start thinking about like the value of this product, and it's upgraded too. If she had gotten the low end one, it would have been it would have been almost $300 for a whole laptop, like your first Mac. Like it's just ridiculous to think about. So I would say utter success for you.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you watch shows on it, you make your zines on it.
Yeah. I feel like the only thing right now is that I'm just scared to like take it out, like out of the apartment because I'm scared of dropping it.
Yeah.
I like wish that I could put a case or something on there, but I don't know that will help. I think that's just because it's new. But the amount of progress that I made since having the Neo versus prior to having the Neo is like, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Like I finished basically 2 full zines in like a couple of weeks.
Which is like faster than usual.
Oh my God, it usually takes me like months to get to that point. And not to say that I couldn't have, I guess, with that motivation done it on an iPad, but it's so much faster with like in particular with like using Canva, because I use Canva for a lot of it, is so much faster on the Neo than any other device I have.
I mean, the original Mac and Lisa teams, early on, I mentioned this earlier in the video, they had it right. If you want to get work done, your computer should probably resemble like a workspace, and that's what Macs do. And I will say also, Steve Jobs had it right as well. Mac in a book by 1986. I think that's what he always used to say. So MacBooks, they were the right form factor. All right, again, thanks for watching. Check out Anne's zines by commenting below, and I think you can go to hotletisdead.com if you want to kind of take a look. But really, again, please come to Zine Fest if you're in Seattle. I know some of you are here in Seattle, and I know some of you watch here to the end, so check it out and let me know what you think about it. Thanks for being a part of this. And thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. One more thing. Anne has a story that I totally forgot about. She's a teacher, so I feel like she should tell you her teacher story that's about the Neo.
So we were learning in phonics about suffixes, and one of the suffixes that we were talking about was ish, like changing to be, kind of like something. And so we were talking about how it applies to different colors, like bluish or pinkish, and we came to the word greenish, and they were like, what is something that is greenish that's not actually green, or like kind of green? And I was like, oh my, I just bought a laptop. Like, I can show you guys. And so I showed them a picture of it, like that I had taken on my phone, and they were like, that's green. That's just green. And I was like, okay.
In our apartment, the computer looks green. I don't know if you could tell in the video because I color graded it a little bit.
Yeah, it like, even this, it kind of does. It like looks green in our apartment for sure.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
And so all the photos that I had were pretty green looking, like just like a very bright green. And then I pulled up the Apple website that had like pictures of the Neo on there, and it looks way more yellow on the website. And so I was showing it to them, and they were like, that's yellow. And so then we were like, well, so we decided that if we were going to assign a color to the laptop, because sometimes it looks green and sometimes it looks yellow, it's greenish yellowish. And that was their official. and then I said, well, Apple calls it citrus, and they were like, no, greenish yellowish. So.
Oh wait, I think Lemon's calling me. Gotta go.